Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are doing our fourth annual fundraiser for this. Um, this is something we do every year, and it's just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. Right now, I'm getting links and information out. Um, okay, so what do we do right now? All right, so the goal of this is to raise money for teens who are in DV shelters at the moment. Um, they're in domestic violence shelters, and we try to make sure that they get presents over the holidays. Now, the reason we focus on teens is because, generally speaking, the Marines with Toys for Tots, they take care of most of it, of the younger kids. Um, and the people from Herbert Field also do a lot. So there's this gap of older kids who tend to not who tend to kind of get left out, and they're in a situation where they don't have a lot of control over what's going on. So what we try to do is provide them with tablets, screens. It may be only 8 inches, but it's their space when they are in these shelters. We have done this for this is the fourth year, which is kind of wild to me. And over the years, we've had a number of different developments on how this works. There's a shelter that we tend to focus on, and we take care of that one. Last year, they really didn't have any teens, so we kind of expanded and started doing it over in Pensacola as well. And we'll probably try to do that again this year. If we overshoot our goal and we end up with more money than we need, the money still goes to the shelters one way or another. If it could be through supplies, it could be through cash. Most years they give us basically a shopping list. And it's been everything from an absurd amount of cleaning supplies to 1 year, Keith and I had to go out and just buy a ridiculous amount of bras, which was entertaining to say the least. So that's what we're doing tonight. Okay. And thank you, Punk Sci, for coming into mod. All right, let's see. Thank you, EV84. These make it feel like Christmas. That's right, right around the corner. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Pitchforks Dragon. Thank you, Fabrizio Cacciatore. Let me start it out. Also, start using union shops for t-shirts. I wish. Thank you, Rusty Squid. Thank you, Lisa Fuqua. Thank you, Evan Olson. Let's give the teens a good Christmas. Thank you, Keith Davies. Thank you, Brian Mullen. Love it. Used to do with Toys for Tots, but teenagers are often ignored. Yep. Thank you, Joe Smurtle. Have a good holiday season. Thank you, that bassist. Reporting for duty. Thank you, Sarah Jiwads. Thank you for running this. Thank you. Thank you, Joshua Brown. Thank you, Michelle Warmath. Thank you, Lori W. Thank you, David Craig, Stephen Brandt, Dorcas George, Plasma McNuggets, Cute 79, and I Question. Thank all of y'all. That's going to be a really nice start. So, yeah. All right. And let's see. Oh, thank you, Karen. Seriously, Karen. Thank you, Scanna. Israel 713. Israfel 713. Kevin Trumbull, Testify FGC. Leona Rose. Amanda Tickenen. Here's a bit of my refunded union dues. Thank you, Iris Monroe. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for helping direct my lazy altruism. Yeah, I'll definitely assist in that manner. Thank you, the Dark Canadian. Thank you, Blood Lovely, Kathy N, Buddy Nahair, One Bo Peep from Vancouver, saying thanks for all you do. Glad to know I can be a part of this. Thank you. Thank you, Nisa Hauer. Sorry, this is all I can give. It all adds up so quickly. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sean Dennis. Thank you, Rick Travelsted, Courtney Lucas, dropping in to send a few dollars. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute. Thank you. Thank you, Carrie Garrison Voss. Thank you, Retta Connolly. Thank you, Mr. Ansatsu. This isn't much, but I hope it helps. It will, trust me. Thank you, Anna LA. Peace and safety to all. Thank you, Dove005. Been waiting for this. Thank you. Thank you, T Garden Chicken. And so the giving season begins. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mark Matson, Hardware Nuts, Alan Arnson, Tawanda, and Jeff Stuff, Sid Matter. Greetings and good wishes from Sweden. Gil Grimes, the Atlantic Canadian, stayed up late so I could give. Now I'm going to bed. Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth P. Pyrophane. Gideon. Hey, Bo, glad to help out. Out of curiosity, you had a video about how Futurama is a progressive but crude show. Have you seen The Boys? Would you recommend if you can get past the gore and adult stuff? I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list of stuff to watch, but I have not seen it yet. Thank you, Maddie B. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, I from Iowa. Thank you, Conrad Kirby. Thank you, Jurgen Gosh. Thank you for letting us help. R.I.P. Christine McVie. Thank you, Phenomena Maybe, Betsy Wingert, Patricia T, Mark E. Propaganda Mech, Mark 3 Propaganda Mech. Thank you, Weird Thoughts, Emerson Lamb. At least you can put this money to good use. Would like to actually meet you one day. Well, now that the world has restarted, we're looking to restart, like actually getting out there again in spring, with like a schedule and everything. We'll see how it goes though. Thank you, Torsion. Merry Christmas to a good cause. Will you do a video about Walker's primary residence and how he got on the Georgia ballot? That's on my list of things to do. There's a lot of news breaking this week, so this may be a week where we end up with 4 videos a day. I'm not sure, or some things won't be covered by me because that's where we're at. There's a lot coming out. Let's see. Thank you, CL Moriel. Safe holidays, everyone. Say Pern Green Watts. Thank you. Kitty Burns. Thomas Creets, Barry Thomas, Eve 84. So do the teams ever know, do they have time or opportunity for personalized requests, or is that something we, the internet people, could do vis-a-vis the individual shelters? Okay, so these shelters, they operate very much like safe houses. One of them I have been working with for years and years and years before this channel ever started. And they will give me, there are X number of male, female, non-binary. That's it. No names, no ages, nothing that can be used to identify them. It's a security thing. And they pretty much, all of them that I have ever worked with work that way to some degree. Some are more secure than others. The ones around me are incredibly secure. They don't really get personalized requests, but from the feedback we've gotten, the tablets, along with the Netflix subscription and the Google Play cards and stuff like that, it's a hit. It gives them something of their own, because a lot of times they have to give up a lot of the communication stuff that they had. So that's we will definitely keep sticking with this for as long as we're able to. Thank you, Rock Mumbles. Thank you, Lawhoff95. Thank you, Chris Bach. Merry early Xmas Bow. If you don't mind, I've been wondering for months about your thoughts on the summer gun control bill, specifically the DV part. It's a start. There are a lot of loopholes. And as far as as far as gun control goes, the key thing to me, if there's anything that is going to be effective, it is going to be related to limiting access to those with domestic violence histories. Thank you, Sid Mater. You got the name right. Thank you, Man Guy. Thank you, Shane Minkin. Thank you, Sandy McLean. I'm not even gonna try. Thank you, Sandy. Lotto for all you do. Thank you, Jen, Evan Layton. Thank you for all you do and for the education you provide. Thank you, Midnight Man, Turtle for Cats, the Shaggy Sniper, J.A. Bulbot, Crystal Bartlett. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle Smith. Thank you, Kathy Cannon. Thank you, Burbs Aren't Real. Thank you, Jacqueline Healy, Brett Paul, Hockey Hooligan, Joyous Madman. Thank you. Thank you, Huge in Japan. Thank you, Shannert, Joe Just Joe. Hey, Bo, have you watched Andor yet? Seems up your alley. I haven't. I saw it today. It popped up on the little feed, but I haven't watched it. Thank you, Baba Man, Lori Berrettini, Bad Pirate Monkey. Anti-Semitism is whack. Yeah, that's been. See, it's one of those things. I'm not sure if people off of Twitter are seeing what's going on and understand how wild that is getting right now. Like way out of line, like way more than is typical. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Happy to help any way I can. Just hopped into the stream. Did you already mention who the fundraiser is for? Okay, so I tend to not mention the fundraiser at all until we're done. And there's a reason for that. I have a video over on the Roads with Bo that explains how we do our fundraisers and why, and you get to see the whole thing from behind the scenes. Generally speaking, I am a political person, and the area I live in is not necessarily aligned with my politics. So for a lot of nonprofits, it may not be the best idea to be too publicly associated with me. So we kind of keep it under wraps. But at this point with this particular one, I mean, it's the same shelters year after year. So, I mean, you could go back and look. It's a shelter that is often a house. And you would be able to find out who it's for. And some of them have photos of me on their social media, despite my best advice for them not to do that. Let's see. And just on the off chance that's a checks and balances thing, there is always photographic and video evidence of what is done with this money that comes out afterward. I just realized that might have been a nice way of asking something. Thank you, Brendan Swatala. Thank you, Plasma McNuggets. Any status updates on the independent state legislature case from SCOTUS? I don't want to say I have a hard time believing that they're going to do it, because this has been a a wild Supreme Court, but it seems just so unlikely to me that they're going to follow through with that. But it's still something we have to watch. I haven't seen any recent developments. Thank you, Cornelius Throatwort. Thank you, Eve84. Hey, chat, don't forget to like the video. Thank all of you for handling my PR for me. Thank you, Lundy P. Thanks for spotlighting good places to help out. Happy holidays to all the internet folks. Love and light to you all. Thank you, Rafael Gomez. Thank you, Blue Tree 0502. Thank you, Nick B. Thank you, Slitherensis. I know you now play your role to shipping clerk, but thanks for organizing this again. Let's go, internet people. Lighter question, fave holiday movies. I just watched something last night with my kids, the Christmas Chronicles. Kurt Russell is Santa. It is unique. I found it pretty entertaining. And yes, yeah, I am. I'm a shipping clerk. That's my job in these. I mean, y'all provide the resources, and I get it to where it needs to go. Thank you, Amanda McBride from Tia and Parquet. Thank you for remembering the teens at these shelters. Hope to help brighten their holidays during a scary, stressful time in their lives. Thank you, Kimberly Clements. Thank you, David Taylor, Ryan Wilmington, Timothy Ball, Coraline Rimning. Greetings from Sweden. Been following you closely since 2020. This is an awesome thing. Thank you. Thank you, Katie Cat. Thank you, Flo R, for a fabulous team. Thank you, KC Medic, Medc. Thank you, Mila Birch. Thank you for all you do, Bo. You have a knack for saying in a few minutes what it would take me. Hard takes. Thank you. Thank you, Jason Smith. Thank you, Little Noisemaker. Thank you for all you do. Asked before, but missed the answer. Team Dean, Team Jess, Team Logan, Team Rory. Yeah, Team Rory. Very much Team Rory. Did not imagine a Stars Hollow question in here. Thank you, Angel M. Bouchard. Thank you, Turtle NYC. Thank you, Adam Fillion. Thank you, Lori W. Thank you, I Love Privacy. Thank you, Lee Benz. Thanks for all you do. Your unwavering support of the LGBTQ asterisk community. And knowing good people like you exist has been a real source of comfort in this insane world. Thank you. Thank you, MR. Thank you, Chris Woods. Thank you, Jennifer Edwards. Thank you for helping keep me sane. Hope that's your... hope that your wife gets that gelding she's eyeing. Oh, I'm sure that's... For those that missed that on Twitter, my wife tweeted out something about thinking about getting a new gelding. Now, she's been talking about this horse who is retired for at least a month. And I've basically come to the realization that anytime I hear about an injured or retired horse and the horse's name shows up, that eventually that horse is going to be living with us. And she tweeted out something about thinking about getting this gelding. And then people started tagging me in it. And she's like, stop tagging my husband. But I mean, yeah, I'm sure that's already actually like in the works. And is definitely going to occur. Thank you, Reverend Ed Trevors. Hey, Bo, you're helping build, equip, and empower an incredible community. Thank you for being... it skipped my phone. I read all these on my phone, and it did that weird thing where it bounces around. Such a good friend to us all. Thank you. And if you don't know Reverend Ed Trevors, he's on YouTube. Definitely worth looking up. Thank you, Lisa Taylor. Teach high schoolers and I love them. Thanks for helping them out. Thank you, Jacob Schermerhorn, for the kiddos. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, Brad Maestro. Thank you, Susio the plumber. Thank you, Jose Soriano. Thank you, Snakebite. Gizmo Fish 57. J.K. Donnelly. Thank you for your community building and opportunities to contribute. Well, y'all make it possible. Y'all make it worth actually putting in the effort because y'all always show up. Thank you, Attic Brother, James Massey, Paul Armstrong, HS, Alex Martin. Best iteration of Transformers, the old one. Thank you, Sheila Owens. Thank you, Silver Ray. Silver Rain. Thank you, Elizabeth Roberts. I'm at work and can't listen right now, but I'm so glad I caught the live stream hiding in the bathroom. Nice. Always do that on company time. Thank you, Ken Kane. Thank you, Nicole V. Brenner. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Soul Seeking. Thank you, Contrafax. Can't say long. Don't discount shipping clerks. No, definitely not. I mean, it's an integral part of it, but it's without the other pieces of the chain, it just kind of sitting around. Thank you, Yvette Logan. Thank you, Tara Willett. Thank you so much for doing this. This cause is one very dear and near to me. Yeah, me too. For those that don't know, my best friend all through high school, she got married, had a couple kids, didn't work out. And when she filed for divorce, in that process, her husband showed up and killed her. This is a very personal cause for me. Thank you, John Murphy. Thank you, Jerome Robinson. Thank you, Katerina Profier. Thank you, Gotham City. Thanks for all you do, and thank you for being a fellow Trekkie. Thank you, Mike Edmondson. Thank you, Michelle Heikkinen. Thank you, Meh. All right, but let's get to the real question. Die Hard, Christmas movie, yay or nay? Yeah, I mean, it takes place during Christmas, so there you go. Thank you, Danny Valadez. Thank you, Brad O. Thank you, Brett Up the Grove. How about a video on the Biden rental vehicles? That is wild. Yeah, there's probably one coming on that. I'm trying to get a little bit more information than what's out there right now, because what's out there right now is, wow, that's really weird. I mean, that's a whole lot of coincidence. I'm very curious as to what happened there. So yeah, there's probably a video that's coming on that. Thank you, Emmett Harrigan. Saw a kid on the train earlier today. Super excited to start playing with his new Hot Wheels playset. So it's incumbent on me to at least try to spread the joy. Thank you, New Boot Goofin. I want to go to Ukraine to help. I don't have combat experience. I have 4 years experience as 911. Only EMT. Tried Foreign Legion and Red Cross. Both told me no. Are there any organizations that I could join to go help? I'm one of those people, like, if you're going to volunteer, I would see if there is a non-combat organization that would want help in very much the rear, or maybe even in another country that is dealing with those who had to flee, and try to help there. I totally understand the desire to want to get over there and, boots on the ground it. But I very much am one of those people that if you haven't been there the first time you're going, you don't want it to be as a volunteer with a language barrier and not having the training that you need, and not understanding the maneuvers that they're going to be doing and trying to keep up. It's I get the desire. I would try to find some way that you can use your EMT skills in a way that is far from the actual fighting. Kim Booker, thank you. Thank you. I am lost again. Thank you, Brandon Peterson. How do you feel about the recent changes to Army CID? I don't know if this is. I did a video when they first announced some changes when they were talking about bringing in higher end investigators, and basically the way it would work, if we're talking about the changes from a few months ago that may just now being implemented, I think it's a good idea long term. If there's new changes that have been announced recently, I'm not aware of them. The CID, they're good investigators, and they're slow. They need they could use some outside help. Thank you, 50 Express. Die Hard Christmas movie, yay or nay? Yes. Oh, and for all those who have no idea what that last question about, CID, they're the investigators, the criminal investigators within the Army. Picture them like you have MPs, which are like cops. CID is more like the FBI within the Army. Thank you, Miss Robin. Thanks to your encouragement, I joined a group of women who fought off MAGA candidates running for school board seats. We won most of the seats. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Had to laugh. Thank you. Thank you, Bo and Bo friends. Everyone look up jury nullification and tell people about it at holiday gatherings. Thank you, Eileen Kiefer. Thank you, A Lumpy Horse. Been with the Bo Peeps community for a few years now. Thank you for the sanity saving and for Marilyn's cameo the other day. Priceless. Yes, for those who don't know, over on the second channel, The Roads with Bo, Marilyn, my horse, made an appearance. I did a Q&A session from the barn, and she hung out with me for quite some time. And now there's an influx of requests to see all of the horses, all of the animals. And that may be something we end up doing because people really seem to enjoy that. I will say that she definitely has more personality than the other horses. So don't expect them all to be as entertaining or as fond of the camera as she was. Thank you, Crazy Loca. Thanks to anyone of any political party for donating. Thank you, Kitty. Thank you, Amy Welling. Thank you, Ashley Stepnowisky. What are kids getting this year? Yeah, so we're going to do the tablets again. We got a lot of feedback on that, and that's the big winner. We always do other stuff along with it, but that's the big item is tablets, a subscription to a streaming service, Google Play card, stuff like that. Last year, one of the shelters mentioned that they wanted like a console gaming system for the community area. And I was kind of documenting my quest to try to find one on Twitter, and a whole bunch of other people sent them additional consoles and games and stuff like that. It was really cool finding out about all of it. Thank you, A Handsome Stranger. Doing what I can when I can, as much as I can. Thanks for doing the same, Bo. Thank you, Richard Lewis. Thank you for what you do and bringing a sane perspective to Americana. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, I try. Thank you, Vash the Shy by 85. Thank you, Turd Ferguson. Die Hard again. Yippee-ki, yes. Thank you, Jag. Thank you, Shane Sanders. Do you think the Republican Party is in the process of going back to a progressive part like during the Lincoln administration? This is the time historians point back to as the death of them being conservative. No. I definitely still think they're going to be the conservative party. I think they are going to... they might end up shifting on labor issues, and becoming more progressive there, because they might be able to lean into some of the base they've already developed among those who work in the trades. But I think that's it. I don't. I think the Republican Party is way too far gone as far as being the anchor and trying to stop social progress. Anyway, thank you, George Nicholas. Thank you, Cheryl B. Thank you, retired RN43. Thank you for everything you do day by day. You keep me informed, not necessarily relaxed, but informed. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, that sounds right. Thank you, Terry Joe Scott. Thank you, Oprah Webman. Thank you, Vincent Cleaver, sending you guys a Tubman. Thank you, Cman937. Message retracted. Thank you, Linda Boisvert. Thank you, Julie B. Thank you, Darkstar1015. Thank you, U.S. Grant. Leaving for Peace Corps in a few weeks. Any advice? Thanks for all you do. I wish I knew where you were going. Yeah, I mean, it's an experience. Learn from the locals. Wherever you're going, they're going to have stuff that they can teach you that you'll never think of. And I'm talking about the way they process information, the way they look at the world. And it's things like that are great, very enriching experiences. Thank you, Brandon Beddinger. Thank you, Alan and Hammer. Thank you, Dean Valencourt, Sarah Hoyle, Heaven Delaney. Glad we're able to do this again this year. I am too. It was a little shocking to realize that this is the fourth year we're going to do this. Thank you, T. Loof. This is in memory of my daughter, Sally. She was writing a book for teens about abuse. She was not able to finish it. Thank you for this cause. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer Gridley. Thank you, Mackenzie Drake. Thank you, T. Brown. Thank you, Banny. Thank you, Melanie Smith. Thank you, Mervyn Kerniwan. Bo, I think that's the first time I've heard you share the story about your friend. Q. What are your earthy beliefs you once alluded to? I'll stick with the allusions to it on that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't normally bring it up. It was actually, I think the only time I really talked about it was the very first year we did this. And I don't know that I ever really talked about it again. Thank you, Luke Checkle. Thank you, Sunshine. Great cause. Always happy to donate to kids. Any chance the recent shenanigans with Fuentes will shine a light on the GOP's fascination with Orban and Hungary? I don't know. I'm wondering, like right now, from what I'm seeing, it's mainly, all of that is mainly contained on Twitter. I'm curious how much of it is going to really get out into the coverage. And I think it might, because of the connection to the Trump meeting. So I think that there might be a moment coming soon where the GOP is forced to reckon with the fact that they have a whole bunch of people in their base that are quite literally calling for dictatorship openly. That they aren't just trying to own the libs. It's not a joke. They're advocating for dictatorship, and most times specifically fascism. Thank you, Peter Sum de Surf. Thank you, Nathan Corner. Thank you, Corn Tech. Thank you, Daniel Ashford. Thank you, Tom Pedigo. Thank you, Kate Luck. Thank you, Holmes. Thank you, Maria R123. Thank you, John Megan. Let's do this. Also, F Texas MAGA school boards and their ousting of veteran educators. May they reap what they sow. They will. They will. It's a given. Teachers are not teachers of quality are not something that are easily replaced. So still alive. Thank you. Hey, Bo. So let's say the one bill that's supposed to give railroad workers 7 days sick leave fails in the Senate, and they decide to strike anyway, despite what Congress did the skip thing. I really wish I knew what caused that. It's so much easier to keep track of what comes in via my phone, but every once in a while it just bounces the whole screen. 7-day sick leave fails in the Senate, and they decide to strike anyways, despite what Congress says. What do you think happens there? I don't foresee a full-on walkout occurring. That doesn't seem likely to me. There may be a slowdown of certain things, though. And as far as what happens there, I know that historically there's been the use of force from the government to break strikes. I see that as unlikely. I think it might be more likely that if the strike or a work slowage occurs, that National Guard is called in to fill roles, not force workers back to work. I am not happy with the way the government is currently dealing with this, and there will definitely be a video coming out about this. My personal opinion is, if you have a dispute between the workers and a massive company, and the requests are things for, like, a normal schedule and sick days, you should be siding with the workers. The pressure should be put on the companies to come up with a real contract, rather than give a small concession to the workers and say, get back to work. I do not like the way this is currently going. Let's see. Okay. Thank you, Fade Music. Thanks for doing these fundraisers. I was wondering how real you consider the threat of larger global conflict breaking out, given rising global military posturing. I do not think we're headed towards something like World War II, if that's what the question is. As far as a brief shooting engagement, a little more likely, but you're using the right word, posturing. The big countries don't want to go to war with each other because it's bad for business. And regardless of ideology, all of the main players are economic powerhouses, and they don't want to disrupt that for the sake of a little bit of dirt. Not to say it can't happen, because there's always the possibility of mistakes being made at the same time. But I don't think anybody is intentionally moving in that direction. Thank you, Alex B. Guerra. Thank you, Jeremy Reisdorfer. Thank you, X Triv. Anytime I see a fundraiser by you, I try to contribute because I know it's going to a good cause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew Hornsheimer. Thank you, Beautiful Pilgrim. Thank you for this DV fundraiser. Try to donate items to DV shelters when I can. I can't contribute much. Don't get paid to get till next week. Thank you. It will all add up. Thank you, Professor Cheryl. Thank you, Flatterick Kifai. Thank you, Deb Lee. Thank you, Jody R. Thank you, Inorai. Thank you, Elsid 575. Thank you, Crow Magnum. Thank you, Nancy Funk. Thank you, Jaden Slaughter. Do you have an opinion on the online new right or dissident right or whatever they call themselves that's separate from the alt? I at this point, there's probably going to be a lot of factionalism occurring, and you're going to see more and more of it, and they're going to try to stake out different positions. At the end of the day, most of them believe the same core things, with certain figures losing their popularity and their support and their ability to control the entire base. You're going to see a lot of personality conflicts that are masquerading as policy differences. So thank you, Katie Bice. Thank you, Kit B08. Thank you, Ricardo M. Answering the call. Thank you. Thank you, David Pei Sharka. Thank you, Brian B. I think that asked what was in my music list. Everything. Somewhere there's a playlist on YouTube that's like Bose music or something like that. It's from years ago, but I have very eclectic tastes in when it comes to music. And what's the last live show you saw? I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I'm sure it'll come to me, because right now I'm thinking it's Steve Earle, but I know that that's not it. Thank you, Gary Droge. Thank you, Peterson to Surf, Rule 303. If there is a need and you have the ability, then do something. Thank you. Thank you, Ramona Goodman. Thank you, Explore Gaelic. We are Canadian, and we are so appreciate your take on the world. Thank you. Thank you, Snakebite. Bo, in a future gun compilation video, could you explain the difference between background checks and a universal background check, and why UBC is bad? I tried researching, but still confused. Aren't BCs needed for DV history? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a video. The short version of this is there is a large fear, and a lot of it is unfounded, because a lot of what they're worried about already exists. But there's a giant fear of a central list of gun owners. In that community, that is something they fear, because they saw that scene in Red Dawn, and they're worried that, somebody will come in and get the list and then come round them all up. We've done videos explaining the logistics of actually trying to round all of them up and how long it would take in the United States. And we've talked about the fact that most of the information that they're actually concerned about, they already have, because of the way our financial system works. It's not like if you go and purchase something that's $700 at, Billy Bob's Gun and Pawn, that they're not going to know what it is. But yeah, I'll get a full video out about that, and why there's a concern, and why there probably shouldn't be the concern there is, and more importantly, how to actually get background checks without causing the alarm. Thank you, Joe B. Thank you, Haggis Dog. Definitely need more horses on the show. You need to show the t-shirt more clearly at the start of each video. They're always interesting. So YouTube has enabled this new thing that allows you to tag products. It's still in the beginning phases, but you'll start seeing a little box down in the left-hand corner that you can click on, and it will show you the full shirt, because I'm tagging. That's what I'm tagging, is I'm tagging the shirt. So you'll be able to see the whole thing if you're really interested in what it says. Some of them are entertaining. And at this point, I want to say about half the ones I've tried it on have actually been in the list that you could tag. So it's a neat feature. I can't wait to see it as it completely rolls out. Let's see. All right. Thank you, EV84. I'm deeply sorry if your friend was lost. Thank you for working with the pain. So what would you have mankind, the dudes, do to help themselves with this situation? Manly man BS has put them in to grow away from current DV statistics, as it were. Oh, wow. So that's a giant video, but a lot of it does have to do with addressing the popular concepts of masculinity, which are false. The idea of total control, the idea of violence being what makes you a man, all of this stuff, there's a massive cultural shift that has to occur. It's not any one thing, but the way we look at masculinity is A, it's not in line with what has historically been there, and B, it's actively harmful. And the interesting thing about this is when you start to talk about toxic masculinity, immediately most men, their eyes just glaze over. But the concept of focusing on the wrong parts of masculinity and giving them too much attention and that becoming toxic it's not a feminist idea. That's not where it came from. It came from the first men's movements, the mythopoetics, and they referred to it as hypermasculine, and the good masculinity as the deep masculine. And that's where a lot of it stems from, because it's about power, it's about control, it's about living this image that it's not real. It's striving for control. Thank you, CB. Yay, made a live stream. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, Sticks Mommy. I had to back up the video to see, but this sounds like an awesome cause. I'm running a little short on funds at the moment, COVID with no pay, but want to help a little. Thank you. Thank you. And believe me, it all adds up very quickly. Thank you. Thank you, Ferguson. Since we're helping out DV shelters, have you heard of RAD, self-defense system? So thoughts? If not, maybe check it out. I will. I have not. It's, they're all acronym based now. I haven't heard of that one, but I'll take a look. Thank you, Jurgen Gosh. Good call doing tablets again. Thanks for facilitating this. Is there another individual or community prep channel you recommend besides the Roads with Bo? Well, there are a bunch. Let's see, community prep. There was one I was watching the other day, and it's funny because it came up because they had a video like 5 left-leaning prep people or something, and it showed it to me because I was one of them. But I can't remember the name of their channel. But after watching that video, I went through and I actually started watching their stuff. It was good. I'll try to find it. Thank you, Odomir. Thank you, Taiwaz. Thank you, JSK Anderson. Thank you, Jacob G. Sleepless greetings from Germany. How worried are you about runaway, misaligned AI? It depends on how much control it inevitably gets. At this moment, I'm not. A lot of AI has proven to be very, very good. However, there are concerns, but it depends on where the lines are, what the AI actually has control of. Thank you, Sherry Creations. If sharing your channel with others of my later middle age is the only way I can feel like I'm doing something positive for this country. Thank you. Okay. This definitely looks like I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. Okay, so hang in there with me 1 second. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, here we are. Thank you, Jim Epley. Thank you, Jaden Slaughter. Oh, that one came through twice. Thank you, downloadable content. Thank you. Thank you, RB. Have you read Brandon Sanderson yet? I haven't. I haven't had a lot of time for leisure reading lately. We have a lot of stuff going on in the background, a lot of little projects that were started at different points in time, and of course, all of it is coming together at once. So I've got a lot going on. Thank you. Just call me Jen. Thank you, because I would have tried to pronounce that. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Don L. Thank you, Kristen Whitney. Thank you, Travis518. Thank you, Katarina Proffer. I saw the My Ideal World video you posted a while back. I'm wondering how a similarly themed video would sound now. Very similar, but my views on how useful crypto would be have definitely changed since then. That might be something fun to revisit. Thank you, Mark Stallnicker. Thank you, Rusty Squid. My sister is a teacher, and for every classroom hour, she spends 3 prepping. Let's see. I really wish I knew what caused this. I don't know if it's a certain number in the backlog just bounces it or what, but when it shifts, it messes up my whole chi here. Okay, my sister is a teacher, and for every hour she spends 3 hours prepping. To my sis and all the other teachers, thank you, and be strong. The love you give to your students is thricefold back to the community. Fact. Gotham City, Optimus Prime versus Voltron. Who would win? Optimus Prime. Jurgengosh. Let's all shine a super bright light on the sheer level of heinousness that certain GOP figures are willing to cozy up to. Right? I mean, there's some wild stuff going on out there right now. Silent Trimmer, thank you. Did you hear about the school district in Louisiana where the superintendent tricked about 2,100 students into going to a church? I did not. That has not hit my radar like at all. I'm very curious what the rest of that message said. I'm trying to get back up to it. Oh. 2,100 students into going to a church service under the guise of it just being a college and career fair? No, but I mean, that sounds like something fun to look into. And if Reverend Ed is still watching, I imagine he'll be all over that. Thank you, Jay Beats. Thank you, Motto Man. Thank you, Rob Theed. Thank you, Sean Britcher. Thank you, Bill Flareshine. Thank you. Yeah, it does make it easier. If you're familiar with somebody, it's why these are as effective as they are. If you with as much with as much misappropriation goes on the net, having one person say, yes, I'm doing this, I'm taking it, it does make it a whole lot easier to have faith that your money's going to go to where it's supposed to, because you know where that person is. Thank you, Lorelei. Okay. This is just getting out of hand now. Thank you, Lorelei. Thank you, Michael Feria. What do you think of Ukraine's chances over the winter? Good if they get cold winter gear. There's going to be a video coming out about that. It's already recorded. If they can get cold winter gear, you'll probably see some unique developments. Thank you, David Abney. Workers deserve dignity. Fact. Thank you, Terry Collier. Hope this helps. I'm tired of former President Clown Shoe and people defending his dinner guests. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Julie P. Thank you, Yvonne A. Thank you, Letta Mullen. Thank you, Noble PDX. Glad to find. Thank you. Thank you, Meh. Please hit the like button. Thank you, Scott M. Wilhelms. Thank you, Eric Churras. I've heard you say that history should be taught from the present backwards. What is the reason you feel that way? Should they separate U.S. from global world history in that approach? Yes, but teach world history first. Teach global world history starting backwards, and then teach U.S. history to be more specific. The reason I think it's a good idea, because it turns it into a story, and it provokes the question, well, what caused that? And it makes it more interesting to the person learning it if they're allowed to question and kind of, they look at it as getting the backstory. Why did we end up in Iraq? Because of this, which really isn't what was told at the time. There were other motivating factors. Why did Russia invade Ukraine? And it leads, it's more natural to learn it in reverse, because most people are more familiar with what has just occurred than what happened a long time ago. Thank you, Christopher Shu. Happy holidays to everyone. Thank you, Mac Pro 75. Thank you. Thank you, Casey Kadick. Thank you, Lisa Kleinworth. Thank you, Catherine Brenner. Thank you, Sir Vagabond. Does Russia destroying the infrastructure of Ukraine classify as a crime? Some of it undoubtedly does, but not all of it. That's a question that would have to be parsed. There's a lot of intent there as far as what was intended by that strike. Based on what we've seen, yeah, a whole lot of it is going to have some international criminal prosecutors interested. Thank you, Tyler Hutto Smith. Thank you, Desire G. Hug them kids for me. Will do. Thank you, Stephanie Ray. Merry Christmas. May it help you to continue the good work. Thank you. Thank you, John Westmeyer. And here's another question. It looks like a conversation is going on. If it's a fundraiser, then YouTube doesn't take any fees. So because of the way we do it, this isn't a YouTube fundraiser that goes directly through the charity and all of that stuff. At the same time, the ad revenue from the channel gets used to make up what YouTube takes. If you don't know, when you're doing something like this and you use the super chat function, YouTube takes a cut. They take a percentage of it. And when we're doing this type of stuff, basically the ad revenue, the commercials y'all see on the channel, the money from that we use to fill in I want to say it's 30% that they take. So short version, if you give 20, 20 goes to the cause. So let's see. All right. Trying to find where I'm at again. There we go. Thank you, Frank McDonald. Thank you, Charlie Chuckles. Thank you, David Bernard. What do you think about Bakhmut? Will the Ukrainians hold it? If they lose it, will they hurt their strategic position? Russia's throwing a lot of weight into that. They have a plan. I don't think that it's going to work. I do believe they'll be able to hold for quite some time. And I think that Russia is making an error right now with that. Thank you, Fazsicle. Thank you, Toos. Thank you, Stephen Corvo. Thank you, Grimlick. Have you heard about the Biden administration giving $75 million to native tribes to relocate due to the impacts of climate change? I have heard nothing about that. I will look into it, though. Thank you, King Raven. Thank you, Ian Coladay. Thank you, Still Alive. What do you see as the one thing that could totally tank Doom's chances of winning the big also in 2024? Also, do you think DeSantis has a chance? I think DeSantis has a chance, but I think by then the Republican Party is going to be so burned out on the authoritarians that the smarter play would be to run a Brian Kemp more than a DeSantis. We'll just have to see how that plays out. The one thing they could do to tank their chances, not delivering, not attempting to deliver on why they were put there. Galaxis, do you have interest in speaking at universities? I mean, it would depend on the setting. I'm not opposed to it, but it would depend on what it is. Thank you, Ian Coladay. Thank you, Natasha Nix. Thank you for your unwavering support of LGBTQ plus community and the survivors of TV. Thank you, The Science of Up. Thank you, Cara del Sol. Thank you, Kairu and Mina. Super happy to help DV shelters. Some of my students have had to use them and other halfway house type things, and they do genuinely righteous work. They really do. Thank you, Heaven Rogers. Thank you, J-Man2112. Thank you, Andrew Hill. Thank you for your hard work in the tough field of fidelity-based journalism. You and your team. Happy holidays, Bo, and a hope for the House bipartisanship. Otherwise, I believe Democrats will have a win like appointing new justices to federal courts. Thank you, Doug Williams. Thank you, Wilbur Jones. Thank you, Eric Bro. Thank you, Ethan BEKG. Thank you, Michael Ossier. Thank you, Corian Coladay. Thank you, LL Saylor. Thank you, Mary Burris. Thank you, Eve84. Sorry for the heavy question earlier. Okay. Thank you for sorry for the heavy question earlier. Thank you for answering it. As a dude in the shed with a beard. You're a unicorn for looking the part. Thank you. Thank you, Bover. Thank you, Jody Gulling. Thank you, Orange Panda. Thank you, Matt Bainey. Will you do a video on, I'm sorry, this is from Orange Panda. Will you do a video on the conviction of the OK crowd? So the reason I haven't covered that is, yeah, I might end up doing a video on that at this point. We'll wait and see. But yes, all the charges, everybody who went up, even though not everybody was convicted of everything, everybody that was in that trial was convicted of something serious. Um, that 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 may have way more time than I think they're anticipating. It depends on how the PSI, the pre-sentence investigation, goes. Um, let's see. Okay. Thank you, Mumbleweed from the UK. But bye also. It's 2 a.m. Thank you, Terry Bomesheim. Thank you, Douglas E., Debbie Schneider, Gary Grinvalds. I'm a seminary student, ELCA, and a hospital chaplain. Is there a need for pastoral care and ministry in a leftist revolution, or is my job strictly about convincing people to actually love their neighbor? There are a lot of leftist Christian organizations. That's a thing. Um, they tend to be more low key. But I mean, when you're talking about a ministry and pastoral care, most times in the perspective of leftism, it would probably be more about using those skills to be like, hey, this is what was said. These are supposed to be your guidelines. Live up to them. And is that more in line with this philosophy or the one we have now? I mean, I think that's where a lot of good could be done. Thank you, Vegan Lee. Thank you, Casey Caddick. I moved from Phoenix, Arizona to Rome, Georgia for 3 weeks to canvass for Warnock. I swear I'm not a lib. Realistically, how much of a difference do you expect can be made with the Senate race? If for the Republican Party, it's really not that important. For the Democratic Party, it gives them a chance to weaken the importance of people like Manchin. So it is more important for the Democratic Party to win it than it is the Republican Party. Thank you, Kalahela. Thank you, Coursera students. Thank you, Mary Stephenson. Thank you, Rusty Squid. The 2,100 students were fooled into going to without their. Oh my. Yeah, I will definitely look into that. That's wild. Thank you, Eric Dardinger. Thank you, Jake Runyon. Thank you, Mary Humphrey. Thank you, Jeremy Horlacher. If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then also Gremlins? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Christy. Donald Wart. Thank you, Julie Ozga. You're a national treasure. I don't know about that, but thank you. Thank you, Terry Young. Thank you, Nuke Jane. Thank you, Ethan BEKG. Thank you, Les Albro. Got here late and don't know the cause. Presents for teens in domestic violence shelters. Thank you, Payron. You shouted me out when I first began covering. Oh, wow. Hey, how's it going? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Eltic. Thank you, Brady Hislop. Thank you, Pat Steltzer. Thank you, Ginger for Jedi. Thank you. Thank you, Veritino Fitz. Thank you, Rick Travelstead. Remembering Tiananmen Square, do you think the Chinese government will overreact to the current protests? Generally, those overreactions start by accident. I don't know. I do not know. There's a it's weird because they have a much better understanding of the manual and the fact that overreaction is one of the things you actually try to provoke if you're on the side trying to cause a revolution. So I would think they would be more guarded, but it's a lot of times stuff like that can happen by accident, by legitimate accident. Thank you, Miles McCaskill. Really enjoyed the my grin on the Mike Lindell video. Yeah, that was fun. Thank you, Mike Spear, Auntie Angie, Lois T, Melody Kate. Thank you, Yessie. Thank you, Maribeth Volpe. Thank you, Mark Goggin. What are your thoughts on EDC? Everyday carry stuff? See, I don't know if this is my version of EDC is like a pocket knife and then everything that you would normally need in a survival kit: food, water, fire, shelter, first aid, just in a small quantity. But yeah, I think it is a good idea for people to have emergency supplies on them. Thank you, Anna Banana Terra Oracle Mediumship. Thank you, Joe Scott. Thank you for all you do. Any chance of Bo Peep shirts coming out? Yes, that is something that we're playing with. Thank you, Linda Blanton. Thank you. Thank you, James Tyree. Have you been watching the World Cup? I haven't been. Do you think that international poker game where everyone's cheating is also being played there behind soccer games? So a lot of those events actually do. There's a lot of political posturing and political events that occur with that. I haven't been keeping up with this one, so I don't know if that's the case on this. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Dina Boyd. Thank you, Music Lover. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you, Ethan BEKG. I do not have an answer to that. Thank you, Late Stage Tom. Are we ever going to see you on other shows? Maybe soon. Ouch. Maybe soon, but I don't know about those two in particular. Thank you, Toby Tobias. Thank you, Karen Sinise. Thank you, Christian Perron. Thank you, Alan Somerville. Thank you, Brian. Couldn't give as much this year. I just wanted a comforting voice say it gets better. It does get better. Thank you, David Card. I hope you were here for the last answer on that one. Thank you, Millennia. Thank you, Jennifer Black. Thank you, Lisa Jenkins. But besides being an astronaut, what field of work is most likely to spend actual time in space in my lifetime? Maybe, I don't know, because a lot of it's going to be done robotically. I don't know. I don't know. I would think that mining would eventually have a presence, but I'm not sure. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Moo Young. Do what I can when I can. Thank you. Thank you, Brian Kidd. Thank you, Tracy Ann. Rusty Squid, this old man must go to bed, but thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Dorky Hippie. Thank you, Jeremy's Cheat Day. Thank you, Steven Biana. Thank you, Efren Rodriguez. Thank you. Thank you, Dorothy Peck. Thank you, Druggist of Dragons. Thank you for Magia. Do you believe that people are ever beyond help? I ask this because I've tried to show my hyper-conservative dad your work, and he just laughs at it and says he has the right to have his opinions, even if they're wrong. maybe I'm not the right messenger. I don't believe, well, I don't want to say I don't believe anybody. I think there are very, very few people that are truly beyond help. They exist, but they are few and far between. Uh, so I would keep trying, but maybe maybe I'm not the right messenger. Um, there are some times when when they need somebody that is not like them. A lot of times I'm useful because I can kind of mirror what they're accustomed to seeing or hearing based on how I look. Sometimes they need somebody completely opposite. Um, there have been a number of times where somebody has like been in my comments as somebody who just is constantly trolling, and then comes back sometimes even a year later to say, oh, well, I've kind of changed my opinion on this, and it's thanks to this person. Or and it's not always who you would expect. One of the people who I knew based on the comments was incredibly rural and should have very much resonated because we're very much the same in a lot of ways. Was kind of, I guess, found a better way via a person named Aaron on the channel Reeducation, which, I mean, go watch it. I wouldn't have seen that coming. I wouldn't have seen somebody from my area, my type of community, being reached by somebody with just based on appearance. So, I mean, I don't think that anybody is ever too far, but it's just finding the right combination. Thank you, Veronica Pryor. Thank you, Obvious Captain. Bo, how you doing? I hope you get that $1 million I asked you about so you can build that school. Yeah, one day it'll happen. Thank you, David Card. Yep, I figured it would be a good cause. Thank you, Marlis Walter. Thank you for all you do. The Beard of Wisdom. Thank you, Mary Beans. Thank you, Crystal Dye. Thank you. Thank you, Jody JM13. Can't afford much. Sorry for all the pain and hatred my fellow Christians have inflicted on society. Thank you, Gene Dalefield. Thank you, Justin Brown. Thank you, Benjamin Stock. Thank you, Michael Duncan. Any recent book recommendations? I have just been working nonstop. I have I don't have any leisure time right now, so I don't have anything to recommend. Thank you, Nathan Watson. Thank you, Joe Marshall. I hope this helps someone that needs it. I'm sure it will. Thank you, Jeff Mountain Pick. Thank you, Still Alive. Thoughts on the RoboCops in San Francisco? There's a video coming on that. There's a video coming on that. And as you would imagine, bad. That is so going to go bad. And thank you, Vert DeFerk. If this brightens one child's holiday, I am good. Also check out Toys for Tots. Yeah. Okay, so I definitely think we're gonna wrap this up. We've been doing it for about an hour and 20 minutes now. So we're going to kind of call it a night. I will you'll get updates and see how it progresses from here. If you've never been through one of the holiday seasons, there will be updates on how all of this went, what it was used for, and so on and so forth. If you want to know what it looks like, you can go back and look at previous years. Thank you, Eric N. Thanks for all you do. Do you have a playlist on de-radicalization? A friend has gone from progressive to full MAGA. Kanye 2024. Our friends want my cool head and humor to talk, but yikes, I need help. I actually don't have a playlist just on that. I will, wow. Send me something over Twitter, given like what it was that, if you know what resonated with them, and I'll see what I have that can kind of line up. Thank you, Nisa Howard and Green Spitfire 17. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. I guess that's it. So it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night. And thank you, Denise Segler.